All right, welcome back to Ellendale as we continue to bring you these segments from Ellendale. And thanks to the Haydel family for allowing us really to capture legacy. This is what it's all about. And what better way to do it than to interview his direct family. And Dr. Larry Haydel joins me now. And Larry, growing up, I'm sure Dr. Jerry had many Larry Haydel stories because you were a little younger than me and Mike and Carl, but your crew was very challenging to Dr. Jerry, so I'm sure there's some good stories in there.
Well, as much as he challenged my mom, I wanted to challenge him. So he did put my mom through a challenge, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And he was always active in everything, and he was always a lot more outgoing than she was, of course.
Yeah.
My mom was a more quiet and very nice person. You know, my dad was just a totally different outgoing personality.
Yeah.
And he showed it in all the activities he did. You know, with his fishing rodeo, Mardi Gras, you know, everything that he did in his life. He was like very passionate about everything he did.
Yeah.
You know, surgery and all of the things he did outside of surgery.
Yeah.
I saw that in when he was working in surgery, how passionate he was about the cases that he did. I would talk to him all the time in the lounge. He would love to talk about the surgery. His partners would come in the lounge and they would just start talking about the cases, and he was always excited about surgery and talking about surgery.
Yeah.
I mentioned that in the eulogy as how he just loved surgery, and like I said, I've never seen anybody love surgery as much as that guy.
You talked about, was it Aramis, you said, the cologne?
He loved to wear Aramis cologne, and every time I go in the hospital, I knew he was there because I could smell it.
Yeah.
And I would go to the OR and talk to the nurse at the desk. My dad passed by, and she would say, yeah. I said, oh, okay, I can smell him. I go to the floor, and like I said, I knew he was up there. I asked the nurses, and they said, how do you know he's here? Because I could smell his Aramis. I mean, he would wear it all the time. In fact, before the funeral, we sprinkled some Aramis on his body, so he would have that Aramis smell during the funeral.
That's unbelievable.
People probably don't know that. Right before everybody showed up, we sprinkled Aramis on him. Because Charlene got his Aramis bottle from the suites where he was staying, and gave it to me, and we put a little bit on him.
Now, was Old Spice ever in the equation? Because Phil is people, and one other, I forget who else said that they remember Old Spice. So did he like switch midstream or something?
I've only known him using Aramis. Maybe Old Spice was when I was younger, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, so he sort of morphed into something a little more expensive, huh?
Yeah.
So what do you remember? What did you learn the most as a surgeon? I mean, as a doctor today? What did you learn the most from really one of the most prominent surgeons that have ever come through Terrebonne Parish, your dad?
I learned a lot working with him, just seeing how he interacted with everybody in surgery and with his patients. I mean, they all loved him, and that's why they call him the legend now.
Right.
I go there every week. I'm in surgery, and I work with the same people who have worked with him every day.
Yeah.
And they all like, hey, how's the legend? You know, every day I hear stories. And since he died, that has multiplied tenfold.
Yeah.
Since he died just in the last week, everybody comes up to me talking about Dr. Jerry and telling stories about Dr. Jerry.
Yeah.
And there's one particular story they may know a little bit about. He used to come home with a cluster of bananas at the house from work when we were growing up. And I never knew where the bananas would come from. I thought it was he stopping at the store buying bananas before he comes home from work. And for years, I never really knew. I didn't ask until he died. I was talking to a nurse this past week, and said he used to sit in the lounge with him, and he would sit there with that cluster of bananas. And he said, Dr. Jerry, what are you doing with these bananas? I said, well, you know, they have fruit that they bring to the surgery lounge, and I always grab the cluster of bananas and bring it to my wife because she likes bananas. I was like, that's where the bananas came from. I never knew where those bananas would come from that he would bring home, but he would steal them from the lounge and take it because he said my mom liked bananas.
Well, you shouldn't say steal. He probably he was just boosting up his pay a little bit.
It wasn't stolen. They was there for the doctors to take. And but to this day, I don't know if my mom even ate those bananas. We probably ate those bananas.
Yeah. He was trying to keep y'all.
That was funny though. That my whole life, I never knew where the bananas came from until he died, and a nurse told me that story just this past week.
And I'm sure you're going to hear a lot of stories over the years that you're going to go, hello. That's where he had so many stories.
Yeah.
I guess there's the secret. Look, Barry Williams came on just a little before y'all and pronounced to the world that your dad colored his hair.
Yeah.
Didn't we know that already?
Something to go back. Something to go back to what Carl said earlier. How he was very hard on us,
Yeah.
and he never really gave us compliments growing up, and I guess he didn't want us to stop trying.
Right.
But when I got to surgery, so many people said, your dad was always in surgery. He would always brag about his children. They would always tell me this. And I was like, really? I said, because he never did that in front of me. He
Right.
would never tell it to us. But behind our backs, he would brag about us. And I think a lot of my siblings probably don't even know that. But
Right.
I know it because I went to surgery.
Right.
And they would tell me, these employees would say, your dad bragged about y'all every day in surgery.
Oh, there's no
When we were all
doubt.
growing up.
There's no doubt he was proud of you because
But
he bragged to us about what y'all were doing. Mike's flying here. You learn how to do this. Pat's doing this. Carl's doing this. Larry's doing this. So everybody else got to hear it. You're right.
Yeah.
He didn't want y'all resting on your laurels.
No. He was an inspiration. And he inspired all of us to do well in our lives.
So it's good
Because
to know that
he worked hard his whole life.
it's good to know all of
He was
y'all
an
will be.
inspiration.
Yeah, it's good to know all of y'all will be working till y'all 88 or 90.
It's going to be tough, but we'll try.
All right, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we have Dr. Patrick Haydel next in line. Don't go away.